Hey, how's it going, guys? This is your boy Hazzed, and today we're going to be talking about 8.2 breath spec. Alright, so we're going to be talking about the buffs to 8. Anyways, we're going to be talking about the... Don't you guys have breath spec?
It's who we are, it's what we do, we've come so far, and now we pay the price, so don't even cry. The world is breaking down, and I cannot leave the ground.
Alright, so jokes aside about 8.2 PTR, you guys have wanted, obviously, an obliteration spec that was somewhat viable in PvP situations, and I've been on the same exact level as all of you guys. Like, I do love playing breath spec, which is the unpopular opinion at the moment, obviously, but at the same time in PvP, breath is just too predictable. I mean, I have to completely agree with that comment. It is way too predictable in PvP situations to use the majority of the time viably, and you usually just get CC'd out of it, especially since right now survivability is king. Once breath is over, I mean, it's pretty easy and pretty simple to survive against a frost DK. But I figured some things out about 8.2 that's actually going to change that quite a bit for us. And I've got some duel clips later on in the video I'll show you on 8.2 of dueling a Shadow Priest. And I'll show you the increase in runic power gain, rune game, and healing game later on in the video. So let's go ahead and discuss in this video what spec and why the spec is extremely strong. I wouldn't say actually it is extremely strong for obliteration spec. So let's go ahead and discuss this. So since the 8.2 PTR is down this morning, I'll be explaining the spec on my live character, and it'll transfer over, trust me. There's really nothing much different about that, and I'll go ahead and put the Azerites on the screen that we'll be using on the PTR also. So coming off with the level 56 talent, I went with Inexorable Assault. Reason being, obviously, Cold Heart in PvP is terrible, and Icy Talons is a pretty good for consistent damage, but I didn't want that. I wanted Burst. Obviously, we all want Burst when it comes to the Frost DK PvP spec. We want our obliterates to hit harder, and Inexorable Assault is going to grant us a little more than that. Now, the nice thing about the Azerite talent we're going to be using later on with this spec, it does increase your critical strike chance against your target by quite a bit. So it is going to cause Inexorable Assault to crit more often than it originally would, which is very nice for the single target DPS and burst of obliteration. As for the level 57 talents, we'll be going with Runic Attune, since it just works out amazingly for collecting RP. Obviously, the better of the other two, Murder's Efficiency, is fairly good, but I don't find it nearly as good as Runic Attune. And as for Horn of Winter, it's not very well suited for the obliteration spec, so I'm going to kind of avoid that and stick with the overall consistency. As for the level 58 talent, obviously we're going to go for the Stun. Asphyxiate, because the other two just obviously suck in comparison in PvP compared to that one. As for the level 60 talents, the reason we're not going to be using Frozen Pulse in this situation for PvP is because we're really going to have just a ton of runes, an absolutely insane amount of runes and an insane amount of runic power, and Frozen Pulse generally won't have too many opportunities to proc itself. That is a huge change, obviously, from live, and that also comes with the recent Frost DK buffs. I'll go ahead and put the link on the screen right now with the conversion of course, Frost Strike and other things as the Azerite neck piece have changed. So discussing the next talents, I'll be on the PTR. I'll be using Death Pact the majority of the time for Frost, and obviously it's going to be the self heal. Now the nice thing about the self heal and the power of the new self heal in 8.2 is the fact that you can actually heal through Death Pact with Death Strikes. Think about that for a minute. Yeah, an insane amount of self-survivability. I've done it and regained my health quite a few times in duels using Death Pact on the PTR. As for the level 90 traits, obviously we're going to be using Gathering Storms. That's going to give us the most consistency, and since I was actually stacking the Azerite trait, I don't believe I'm using it right now. I've got like unholy traits on for this character. But as for the PTR character, I was using Icy Citadel, which allowed me to continue my burst long past Pillar of Frost. Obviously, it's only going to do half in PvP, but it's still going to grant you like 16 to 1700 strength if you're using maxed eye level traits inside PvP, which is a fairly large amount of damage and consistency you're going to be able to deal on your character way past your actual bursting point. And since the majority of the class have fairly good defensive cooldowns, that's going to be very strong for you overall on your Frost DK. So after stacking Icy Citadel, I went with the Remorseless Winter trait just for overall more consistent damage and build-up throughout the fight. If I was going to use like Frostwind's Fury or Glacial Advance, obviously I wouldn't run that talent. The other thing that this is going to do is going to give us an overall better and stronger burst rotation inside of fights when it comes to battlegrounds or anything you're really surrounded by multiple targets. You're going to get yourself a Howling Blast proc and do an insane amount of burst damage. So like I was talking about before with the Inexorable Assault talent, the Gathering Storms talent is going to give you a proc of Howling Blast, which Howling Blast is going to have a 35% greater chance to crit than it previously did before to deal massive amount of damage, since our hardest hitting ability the majority of the time is Howling Blast on a Frost DK. And the reason that synergizes so well with the Howling Blast is because we're going to be using, obviously, our last talent, which is going to be Obliteration, which is going to grant us a Killing Machine effect on our Obliterate, which is going to give us massive damage, of course, with our Obliterate. And, of course, with the extra crit chance, an Inexorable Assault's going to be hopefully critting for the most part. And you're going to be hitting like 20 to 25k, maybe even 30k Obliterates. Now, the other thing that this Azurite Neck piece ability is going to do is increase your critical strike damage by, I think it was 35%. I'll go ahead and throw it on the screen here. You guys will be able to see. So what ends up happening with this build is that not only does it increase your critical strike chance with other abilities, it's going to increase your critical strike damage by, I believe, like 35%. So every Obliterate you get, much larger crit than it previously was. And what it's going to do is it's just like an AoE. It does about 20 to 40k damage, and it's going to allow you to crit the target a lot harder than you usually would, which in turn is going to give you that Obliterate buff or that Frost Strike buff that you've previously been looking for, granting you more burst inside of PvP situations. I think the fastest I've killed somebody with this burst is about 5 seconds, which realistically isn't terrible, and it definitely isn't terrible comparison to what previously the Obliteration spec was doing inside of PvP. The last capability that we need to talk about on the Azurite Neck comes with a minor Azurite trait, and it's Memory of Lucid Dreams. This is the same one we've previously talked about in videos when laying out an extremely long Breath of Sindragosa, about, like 40 to 1 minute. It's absolutely insane. But the minor trait of the Memory of Lucid Dreams does something very interesting. Now, it's a passive that's, kind of like random 50% proc, but it's actually extremely powerful. Your spells and abilities have a chance to refund 50% of the runic power spent on them. So, if you use a Death Strike, let's say it costs 40 runic power right now. You use Death Strike, you have a chance to get back 20 runic power. So, if you're capped on Death Strike, that's actually going to amount to an extra Death Strike after it refunds your runic power 2 times. Extremely strong. Now, let's go ahead and talk about what it does on the secondary passive of this ability. When it does refund your runic power, it also immediately heals you for 16,290 damage. That's literally just the stock version of your Death Strike. That's basically going to take your Death Strike and make it twice as powerful. Now we take damage that's added in and a couple other things, like, because Death Strike heals per percentage damage taken, is going to be a much larger healing capability than it previously was on our Death Knights. Now, we're going to go ahead and get into this duel footage. Don't take it too seriously. Mainly, I was trying to test out survivability and see how good the burst was. But as you can see from this video, the Shadow Priest, anytime he saw my Azurite trait come up, he would bubble instantly. Because earlier in the duels, I was ending up killing him within like 5, 6, 7 seconds. I would just pressure him into the ground. And then once he kind of got a hang of it and realized what stuff he had to avoid, our duels went on a little longer, and we got to see the actual survivability of the Frost Death Knight. So I'll put up these clips. Let's see. I'll throw up the kind of the For the Laws clip first. This one I was wearing tank trinkets just to kind of over-exaggerate the sheer amount of survivability against the Shadow Priest, and it's pretty bad. Let's go ahead and jump into these duels. I gotta sit that. Here comes some damage on him. Thing hit for 40k, that's insane. Ooh. The fade. He knows. He's already like hating his life. You had everything wrong. I didn't even kick his first cast. I just let the majority of that come into me. Alright, stun. We'll just sit the stun. It won't matter. Look at this. Oh, wait for it. There it is. Sneaky little fade. Okay. Ooh, I'm not sitting that. I am not sitting that off the opener. Ooh. Oh, thought I had kick on that, but somehow it got interrupted. I'm not sure what happened there. That was odd. It was odd on his part. Could have popped every man for himself. Don't have it key bounded right now for some odd reason. That's okay. We're just gonna heal ourselves back up to full with this. He's coming out with the silence. There's the fear. He's gonna try and heal himself. We can go ahead and get out of that. Need to click that off. Need to make a cancel macro for that. Throwing up AMS because his little guy's up. That's the majority of his burst damage. Gonna go ahead and death strike, interrupt that mind frame. Make sure he's not putting out any more pressure. We're just gonna keep healing through the majority of his pressure that he puts out. And it's GG. I'm gonna get out of that. He's gonna fear me again though. That might have been a mistake. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Here we go. This is gonna be good. Oh, ho, ho. Yeah, that was smart. That was smart. But that means he's not gonna have it afterwards. He's quick. He's quick. He's kiting out my full burst. That's smart. But I feel like the early dispersion's gonna cost him a bit more later on because I didn't pop him power and I didn't pop my trinket. There's his pet. Gonna go ahead and anti-magic shell. I'm gonna take a lot of damage. But that did cost me a lot of burst that he did that. Because that was my Azerite trait that increased my obliterate damage. There we go. We're back to the obliteration. I could stun him. Yeah, might as well. Can't trinket it, can't get out of it. I do got grip. Ooh, nice stun. Don't got empower yet. Oh, there's this pet. I'm going to go ahead and heal through a lot of this, interrupting that, obviously. I'm going to have Lichborn back up very soon, so I'll be able to get out of any CC. Ah. Nowhere near dying. There you go, he's improving there. Ooh, that would have been the big one. There he is. There's that. I'm not gonna let him get around that corner though. Oh, he definitely got around it. I shouldn't have hit that hay bale. I'm gonna catch him. I'm gonna catch him as long as we stop him. Time magic shelling his little friend. Still haven't popped in power. I'm going to throw it up before the next pillar. Make sure I have lots of runes. We're going to heal a little bit, and then we're going to go in on him with a kick. Oh, no, we're not. We're going to get feared stunned. Can't kick that. I can stun him. Ooh, feared. Caught me off guard with that one. Is he hitting max range? I'm gonna try and hit LOS first. I gotta let him get off that Mind Blast, but I do got dots on me. So that's questionable. Well, that wasn't right. Alright, there's the fear. It's gonna be the vampiric. That's okay. And here's where it gets crazy. And, ooh. As soon as he sees that come out, he knows now. He's scared of that Azerite ability. He's terrified of it. Ooh, I got locked up on the boxes. He's gonna be able to reset completely. I'm not gonna let you mind control me. That ain't gonna happen. Ooh, he threw out Shadow Fiend. There's stun. I'm gonna trinket that one. Interruption Void Torrent. Could stun it after the silence. I got feared though. I'm gonna IBF stun. Oh no, he's running away. Fake out. He ain't casting that. Still got kick anyways. I could have range kicked it. There's the little fade. I'm gonna kick that Mind Blast. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed those dueling clips and got to see kind of the survivability for itself. I also tested these out against Ret Paladins and a few other classes, and I gotta say, I haven't outlived a Ret Paladin as a Frost DK this entire expansion. And what I wanted to do today was test out this dueling mechanics against my partner Jawa so I could get kind of a controlled variable and conversion to live, because as of right now, dueling my partner Jawa is not something I enjoy doing. I can get him to bubble, but after bubble, he just gives me a pretty good stern butt kicking. But on the PTR, when I was dueling those Paladins, I had so much more survivability as Frost. It was insane. And because of the Azerite trait, my burst was scary enough that he literally had to run away from me, find LOS, and try to heal up while hiding. And that is not something I've had to do this entire expansion when fighting 1v1 against Ret Paladins. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, enjoyed those duels. Leave a like if you did. Type any questions down below or anything you have ideas about the upcoming 8.2. I do have some other things in store, like how to reach, I think it was like 100k on 4 targets as a Frost DK. It's probably going to scale even higher. I was able to hold up over like 60,000 DPS over a minute. So it's going to be insane when it comes down to that Frost DK AoE when it comes to Mythic Plus. There's going to be some pretty big changes, I think, to the meta for DKs coming into 8.2. But again, until next time, guys, leave a like. This was your boy Hazzed.